Bloodstains. My name is Callum. I'm here with Alistair. We are going to do your pre-cap for season 13 of Blood Bowl Bloodstains Trophy.
Looks like it will be an interesting season with a mix of bash and agility and a mix of TVs.
I'm quite scared to keep my crown here. I don't think it's happening this season.
I've got you pegged for getting into the semis.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. We'll quickly go over. We got one Amazon team. We got two Lizardmen teams. We got two Necromantic teams. We got two Dwarf teams. We have two High Elf teams. We have a Skaven team and an Elf Union team. I think I got one there. But we're going to start with Alice's Amazons. Very tight build you got here. Very tight build.
It is. I've tried to be very careful about star player point distribution all along this team's career. I did lose two pinnacle players last season. I lost a leveled up Blitzer and a leveled up line, but I think I can mitigate. So I brought these back in because if you see the thrower after our semi game got a strength up.
Yeah, there's no way you can't. There's no way you can't.
got to put her back onto the pitch. So I think I'm lowering my expectations for this season. We have two Chaos Dwarf teams. Much higher TV teams being in the league is where the Amazons can start running out of steam, but we will see how it goes. So my team hasn't changed very much from last season. You could probably see they were built for last season, so probably a lot more tackle than you would normally take. But I think it will still work out for this season.
Well, yeah, there is, as you said, two Chorf teams, which means the dodge is going to be less powerful than it was last season. I remember when I played you in our first game, I just couldn't knock you down. I think I got 6 pals the whole game, and I could only knock you down on pals.
That was it. I'm expecting to take casualties, but we'll see. I mean, they have played in seasons before with Dwarves and Chaos Dwarves and got through it, so anything can happen. I'm not like, oh well, I'm definitely going to lose, but yeah, we'll see.
Got a solid team, not much bloat. Here's a statistic for you. Going to do this for every team. You have a 55% win rate with Amazons in Bloodstains, which seems pretty good, but when you look at some of the other teams that we're going to go through, it's about average, sadly.
They had a bit of a slow start as I was I went from Skaven to Amazons, I think it was, and I was just adjusting to the fact I no longer had movement 9 players. I mean, I get out time. So
there was a meme I've seen circling about, which was it's hard to swallow pills, and it was Amazons are just humans with dodge.
That's right.
And that is what they are. And the worst part about it, armor value 7. They're just armor value 7 humans.
But as we'll see later on, there are a lot of teams out there now that are relying on Claw, and that's just bloat against this team. So we'll have to see. I mean, I think I stand a moderate chance of getting into the semis this season, but it's really going to come down to the casualties they take.
Yeah, I can see if you lose your thrower early game. I mean, we'll go to the fixture list later, but it's not a great start for you, I think.
No.
But we'll see what happens with that. Your Wrestle's going to be useful, obviously, because we've got two Chorf teams. So Wrestle's going to be useful. We're going to be knocking them down.
It was my other line woman that had Wrestle that got killed.
Oh.
But number 11 with the adjut, I'm thinking of going Wrestle Leap tackle. No, wrestle, leap, strip, ball, tackle. If she makes it that far.
Yeah, super sapper.
Yeah.
Well, my view on the star players of this team are obviously Anara Canalo.
Yeah.
Who's obviously the thrower, and it's going to be at the moment. It is Tiania, Queen of the Stars, but I also think Digme Calamio could be something later down the line if she gets those skills.
Yes, you need to get some. I need to. She needs to level up. So little bit of a tip there, guys, is you all know that I do manage my TV. So by looking at my star player points, you can see the players that I'm going to be looking to make touchdowns with, and vanity throws with, and yeah.
Well, you've got your wrestles on is probably going to be maybe taking a couple of vanity throws at the start of the season, I suspect, just to get that level up. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. Well, hope you do well. Just not as well as you did against me last season.
That's right. Well, I don't know. The Sebi kind of went against me, but anyway, that was last season.
Okay. Well, next on our list is me. I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to let you lead this one because it'd be very rude of me to say how great my team is and how good it is going to do. Especially when I'm not that convinced it will. But
you're considered one of the best, if not the best, elf coach in the league. I mean, I know some of the other chaps have played elves. I just haven't seen them playing elves in this league, so I couldn't comment on that. But I mean, you did what I thought you would do with at least one of the blitzes and putting shadowing on, and I think that has caused a lot of people a lot of problems. People are finding it very hard to mitigate the fact that you'll put a shadowing guy right next to the ball carrier. I'll be interested to see how you develop the other blitzer, because at the moment, obviously, it's a standard. You give him dodge and gone from there. You're developing up the two throwers, which is pretty standard. Of course, number 4 has the strong arm and the accurate, so I'll obviously be looking to make them handling the ball a fair bit. The catchers, I think your catchers are running into a little bit of risk that we'll obviously look at roll and wrap properly, but like the gutter runners can run into, where you look like number 5 could become a star player hog if you're not careful, and you might want to consider trying to get the others to score. Oh no, your other 2 catchers are further down. Sorry, no, so ignore what I just said. Sorry, you don't keep them in order like I do. I thought, he's only got 2 catchers.
No, it's 4 catchers right there.
4 catchers. Yeah, you've got them with pass block and jump up. So I think the Elf Union catchers have multiple builds options to them. So you could make one a ball sacker, because you can easily give them wrestle, strength 3, and you can give them wrestle and leap and whatever you want. They've got access to all the skills they would need for that. Obviously one is a ball handle, but the one thing that obviously you probably remember came up during last season's recaps is the fact that you don't just have one pass block catcher, you have 2.
It was very useful last season.
Exactly, and people were sort of going, not sure if that was the right thing to do, but it worked for you. It worked for you.
I can't bring up last season's statistics, but I remember when Matthew was talking about statistics, game week 3, and he wanted to look at leaderboards, and I had 1 catcher with 1 intercept. I'm like, I'm getting to the top of this leaderboard no matter what, and I'm pretty sure I did. Funny enough,
and it works with Nerves of Steel. I mean, I think Elf Union does play into your play style really, really well. Then that's why I think, for me, I think you're still going to put in a really good showing this season. I think you know how to play elves. I will probably do the most flawless elf screening that I've ever seen anybody do. And sometimes when you get aggressive, I've seen it throwing people. they're not expecting you to just charge down the end of the field, and and I think Elf Union can be really good. The catchers can be really good for that. So I mean, I know you've got a lot of tackle coming up and a lot of hardcore bash teams coming up, but I don't think that's going to stop you. I really don't. But again, a lot of it AB7, it might come down to the casualties you take. But I think Elf Union are one of those teams that a lot of your players are good at level 1. So how do you feel about going into this season?
I feel like this is going to be a tough ride. I may bear in mind last season, Rob Top, Phil, and who else? There was one other name I had. Anyway, 3 of the coaches that were likely to do well played not top tier teams. So since they're back with some scary looking teams, my 3rd place finish in the main league could easily become a 5th place finish.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a very close leaderboard. Either way, yeah.
But yes,
I think
it's my opinion. The most important players on this team are going to be Zinedine Zidane and Steve McManaman, because shadowing is thrown many a player off, and I suspect it will throw off some more this season.
And I think Ica, number 4, when they level up, again, because you've got the strong arm and the accurate. I mean, I know they don't pull off
dump off. It's probably looking like Nerves of
Steel.
Steel.
It's dump off.
It's probably looking like Nerves of Steel for him, I think, because if he's got that dump off, it's interesting.
Because throwers don't always tend to pull off the flashy moves, so they're not always seen as, top tier sort of players in the team. But the entire elf play style, it comes down to like having well developed throwers, even though they just stand in the back and just chuck the ball. But yeah, Nerves are still probably a good option for them.
Yes. I have a statistic for you for this one. This team has a 75% win rate, which is very exciting. But we'll see how that pays out, because obviously there were 2 games against coaches that could have played better teams. But we'll see what happens.
Go onto your statistics tab.
8 wins, 2 draws, 1 loss.
And so 21 successful catches. that's probably about right.
27 touchdowns from 11 games. So we're talking about 2.6 a game, which is scary. And I played the final very differently to how I would normally play, because I easily could have scored more than 1 touchdown, even though I chose to score 1. But we'll see what happens in that one.
I think he made the right call, though, because it could easily have gone wrong and gone to 1-all, and I think stalling to guarantee the win was the right call there.
Yeah, stalling in the final was just a necessary evil. Anyway, but back, we'll go to the next team on the list, which is going to be Dan's Dwarfs, the first of our 2 Chaos Dwarf teams. Phil will be
quite a high. Sorry.
Yeah, Phil will be next on this. Don't worry. We'll have a look at that team next.
It's quite a high developed team.
It's interesting because the first thing that stands out to me isn't any of this. It's scary, but that 8 cheerleaders, that seems like something that is interesting. I've seen a couple of coaches this season going to be doing that.
So what we would say, Dan, is if sack them. I would sack all of them, but if you want to have some cheerleaders, sack down to about 2. That's 80k of TV you're just giving away there. And the kickoff events for this team, I mean, if you're looking to get the extra re-rolls, you've got the skills that already give you a lot of free, block and things like that. Sure hands on a hobgoblin. 8 cheerleaders is completely overkill, and I'd also look to be dropping down to 3 rerolls.
I do have a feeling. I think I know what happened. I think the last season he played, I think he was playing against my halflings, and because he was playing against my halflings, he probably wanted to boost up one of those. Let's check. Can I see?
Yeah.
When was that? That looks like that was his last season, the season where he played my flings. So he played them earlier. Oh, but yeah.
I got hit with the halfling chef.
Looking at this, Minotaur with Claw. Yep, seems like a logical first pick for a Chorf Mino.
On a Chaos Dwarf, a Chorf Minotaur, that was a double.
You had to roll a double. No, that was a single. That was a single. I believe the Chaos Dwarf Minotaur is the only Minotaur that gets mutations on a single.
That's what I mean. So he had to roll a double in order to get it on this Minotaur.
No, I'm saying it's a single, not a double. Because
Chaos Dwarves get mutations on doubles.
That's interesting. Anyway.
That's why a lot of Chaos Dwarf coaches don't bother with the Minotaur, because they say it's not as good as the Chaos one. Because, they've got to roll a double together. But he got the double and he's got Claw. It probably makes sense on a wild animal where you might be tempted to blitz a bit more, say, as opposed to something like Tentacles or something like that.
There's lots of high armor teams, so I think Claw is going to be very useful this league.
The wave. But he hasn't rolled a double on anybody else yet, but it's still possible. I mean, the Chaos Dwarves themselves have a fairly straightforward progression like any dwarf, guard, mighty blow, potentially stand firm or piling on. But he does want to be looking to get a double. And he's got a couple close to leveling up, so
yeah,
we'll see.
I don't think we'll be seeing many vanity passes though, but we'll see.
And whether he's going to build one of those bull centaurs to be a ball carrier. So Benjamin down at 11, he's given him dodge, block and dodge, so that it has potential to view 2 more star player points. And if he gives him sure hands, then that would be a potential ball carrier.
Picking up on a 4+ with a reroll with short hands, so that will be a 75% chance of getting the ball. It never feels like that. It never feels like that.
No, it's a decision a lot of Chaos Dwarf coaches have to make. Are you going to turn a hobgoblin or a bull centaur into a ball carrier? The hobgoblins are more reliable to pick up the ball, but the bull centaurs have the speed. They're the fastest players in the team. I mean, his other option on the one that hasn't leveled up is to turn it into a sacker and give it wrestle and all those tackle and strip ball and all that sort of stuff. But we'll see how it goes. So this is one of the teams I'm not looking forward to playing.
So 2 ball handlers, well, two designated ball handlers with the hobgoblins with sure hands. One's already got kick. Seems like a smart thing. I think the kick is basically what's kept him from being sacked because of movement 5.
And again, obviously everybody can do what they want with their teams, so it's not. But I would just sack him now with that low movement kick for him as it's a normal skill up. I know he's got 2 skills, but
I suspect the plan is to wait for the other one to get himself kick, and then that man might be sacked.
And he can't quite afford to replace him yet, anyway.
He can. They're only 50. They're only 60k.
Oh, he's skill leveled up, of course. Yeah.
Actually, they're only 60k. They're 40k. That's
they're quite. Yeah. So that's what I would sack him and just build up another one.
Anyway, they have a 36% win rate. This could not be their TV at the start of the first game. They could have a slightly lower TV, depending on whether they want to sack those cheerleaders or not. But we'll see how they do later on and who they're playing, because I can't remember. Oh, now I can. Now I can remember who they're playing.
Yeah, me. Yay. We'll come to that.
Okay, so next on our list is a team that I have loved so much. A team that my Wood Elves had such a good time playing.
Yes.
So we have the Neophyte League winners in Phil's Chaos Dwarfs.
Yes, and it's another scary team. I mean, as you see, he hasn't bothered with the Minotaur.
Different
That,
philosophies here.
yeah, it's not a bad. Either way, it's not a bad call. I mean, you can see that my namesake at the top. I don't know when he would have got the plus edge, but he's probably going to. That's going to become a fairly dedicated ball carrier, I imagine, because agility 3, bull centaur with sure hands.
This team. My only criticism of this team is it is a bit of a one-trick pony.
That's dwarves.
It grabs the ball and it fouls. Because at the bottom you've got Ryan and Megan at the bottom, who are just designated foulers, who knocked off so much players off my pitch when I was playing against them in the final.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of hobgoblins, actually. I didn't realise you could take 5 hobgoblins.
Oh, yeah, they're like the line. There's the team's line, so he can have as many of those as he wants. So that's my advice, Phil: is sack everybody and just load up on hobgoblins. Definitely.
Considering the amount of fouling Phil does, that might be a good idea.
That's right. Well, number 3, of course, he's rolled the double to get claw, so we're going to see a lot more claw this season. That's obviously probably going to get mighty blow, then piling on. Pretty quickly. It's not that far off from it, so I can see Phil making Matthew just a dedicated killer straight away. He's got plenty of guard on his other players.
Yeah, this could be a very scary team to play. It's scary. I scored 3 without reply, and then he scored 4 without reply. It's because I had no players on the pitch, so it's going to be. Yeah, I suspect that's going to be how games are going to go against him.
I thought he might have brought the ogres back, but he obviously went, you know what, I'm sick of the bonehead and the unreliable.
I was so convinced we were going to see another season of ogres, but oh well.
It's all good.
Anyway, this team has a 90% win rate in the Neophyte League. Guard galore, and of course, with those 2 players down here, we should be expecting a lot of fouling.
Yeah, it feels going to be difficult to stop.
Armor 7, beware.
Yeah, he's going to be difficult to stop. So my advice to coaches facing him is target the hobgoblins first and get them off the pitch as fast as you can. And then just concentrate. I mean, if you can keep the bull centaurs down as well, but it is no guarantee. He's going to be tough to beat this season.
We're now going to go to the High Elf teams. We're going to start with Willem. And this should be a interesting team. Not much to talk about there. They've purchased a fan factor.
Yeah, I noticed that. I wouldn't have done that. I think he'd have been better off keeping the 10k in the bank towards getting that apothecary. I think without the Apo, he's going to have to make it his first buy, regardless, really, with particularly with the sort of teams that he's going to be up against. But obviously, this is he's done a fairly reasonable starting lineup for High Elves.
Yep, 2 blitzers, thrower, 2 catchers, armor 8 linemen. They're going to be just a little bit more annoying than your standard elf, I think.
Yeah, he just has to hang on in there and get them developed up. I think that's going to be true for a lot of teams this season. I know while we're on the first brand new team coming in, I would study the inducements. That's what it's going to come down to.
Yes, there is. I think the lowest team that isn't a brand new team, lowest TV team that isn't a brand new team, is your Amazon's at 1450, I think, which means
Yeah.
the lowest you're going to get is a Halfling Master Chef and a Wizard.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, if you don't want to think about it, go for that. If you want to think about it, have a look at those star players.
Yeah, I would for this team. I would be viewing this season as just developing them up, getting them ready for season 14. But anything can happen. I don't want to put people off, obviously, but the new teams are going to find it hard this season.
Another thing that could have been done, if he chose linemen instead of catchers, he could have had a third reroll.
Yes.
That's the thing I was thinking about. Again, you don't know. This is probably the better format because obviously catch is basically a reroll for that skill. But we'll see what happens on that.
Either's viable. The one advantage he's going to have is that the catchers are in the games and are playing and are going to get the MVPs and he can level them up quite quickly. But until he might miss that third reroll though, until they start getting dodge and block across the team a bit.
Willem has never played High Elves in Bloodstains, but he does have a 22% win rate in general when it comes to playing in the league.
Yes,
that's my.
Yeah, there is a gaps in skill level in the league, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way. There are people in this league that play in like 4 online leagues, go regularly to tournaments, play 3 tabletop leagues. Who are really into it, read the articles and all of that. And then we have some players who've only just started.
I think Willem's only been playing Blood Bowl for a year. So
yeah, it's a bit the same with Daniel's a reasonably new player as well, and so there is an understanding, that there's an experience gap. I think is probably a better way of putting it.
He's got a couple of draws against me in side leagues and in ladder play. So Willem isn't terrible, and he beat my Wood Elves. He beat my Wood Elves.
That's right. And it's not like I'm not trying to. You can absolutely win, and you can absolutely do that. But sometimes if we're looking at builds people have done or skills that they've chosen, and sometimes we might be scratching our heads a bit and saying, "Oh, not sure why you took that." But it's something to just to bear in mind.
I'm not sure I took that. I'm not sure why he took that. I think that's something that Matt said about quite a lot of my picks for my Elvian team.
Again, you get it with the experienced players as well. I've seen people taking skills where I'm like, not sure what that's about. But sometimes you just got to find your own play style.
So, after Willem, we now have Chris, a more experienced High Elf team. And my first comment to say about Chris is, despite the stat downs, this is his best chance, I think, he's had. The best chance he's had to get into the playoffs.
Yes.
He is very good with Elves. He played them in the Bloodstains tabletop, didn't he? And it's going to be very interesting to see if he can bring the success he had in the side league into the main league. He beat me in the round robin. He did lose the playoffs, but many people lost in the playoffs to me. But yeah, guard lineman, beautiful.
You've got to take that.
Another strength up thrower. That seems to be a theme at the moment.
That's right. When I was looking at his team coming into it, I would find number 3 a very difficult decision because it is very leveled up. It does have the plus strength. I don't think the minus move on that player is worth sacking him, considering the other skills that he has. However, number 2, I would be looking to sack at the moment because those blitzers need their speed. It hasn't got anything that he couldn't easily build it back up again. It's all about trying to keep your TV as least bloaty as possible, and minus stats I mean, you know, it's not like it reduces the TV of that player. You're paying the same amount of TV for a player that is not as effective, but he hasn't got the money to replace him now, so I can understand keeping it on and making a decision when he does have that money to consider it.
We got another thing to look at. We've got his Edge 5 player, which is screaming for leap and strip ball.
That's right, leap, strip ball, wrestle.
Oh boy, we're gonna have another player that's going to be a star and is a star in waiting.
That's right, and it is. I mean, it is a well-developed team. He's got all the skills on it that he needs. I think it could be his season with them. I mean, he's going to face the same problem that all of us with AV 7 and 8, the agility teams are going to face. There's obviously a lot of tackle and stuff.
The good thing
might slow it down.
The good thing about this team is it doesn't have a lot of dodge, which is basically bloat against Chorf teams. So
exactly.
Yes, we're going to see how that pans out. I do hope that he does well. I do think this is his chance. If any chance it is. If there's ever been a chance for Chris, this has been it.
That's it. I think even if he, doesn't quite win up the final, I think if he doesn't get the casualties and he puts them in again in the next season, if he just sort of perseveres with them a bit, he could win. He could win a final with this team. So he could do it this season. But I would, if I was Chris, I would be persevering with them. They're a nicely built up team.
Yeah, he has a 55% win rate with this team. Well, with high elves in general. This is going to be interesting. Guards useful. Edge up's useful. Strength up's useful. This guy's, I suspect what's going to happen with this Blitzer is he's just going to leave this problem on the line and let it solve itself.
That's right. There you go. You can hit him as much as you like. The thing with elves, of course, when every time you roll a double, you do have to think about, this is a chance for me to now take guard.
Or Mighty Blow if you've got a Blitzer, or a couple of other ideas potentially down the line, but we'll see. So, that's this team done. Next on the list is Matt with his 1700 Forgotten Frigerators. They have truly festered into something beautifully scary.
They really, really are. I mean, the thing about Nurgle is they're an expensive team anyway. I mean, he wouldn't have started with half of these players. They are an expensive team. I think his bench is too big. Personally, I would probably sack 2 of those rotters if you want a bench. I think that's a little bit bloaty on a Nurgle team, but I have noticed a lot of coaches in this league do like big benches, and hey, I think this team got into a final. I think this was a near fate team. They got into the final against Leon's Undead, I believe. I can't remember who won. Sorry, guys.
But let's see. His last match was against Leon, but I don't think he got to the final because that Piper of the Gate of Dawn played in last season's near fight, and I got to the final on that one. So
that's probably a semi game then. I remembered they got into the playoffs.
No, they couldn't have got to the playoffs. They couldn't have got.
Oh, okay, I'm remembering it wrong. Sorry, guys. But I mean, 2 strength 5 Nurgle warriors. I mean,
2 strength. Scary.
Yeah.
So
that's insane.
Other highlights. Other highlights of this team. We've got, the Pestigores realistically are the blitzing pieces because of the horns. If you want to make the most use out of them. So it looks like Jerry's probably become some sort of sapper. These 2 are going to be generic blitzing pieces. I suspect we're going to see Mighty Blow next on this one. Or Claw, potentially, in that. Obviously, I have a feeling that these 2 are going to be built All four of these are going to be built the same way. These Nurgle warriors. They're all going to be block, mighty blow.
Claw.
It's going to be maybe frenzy on the 2 strength up ones now. That could be something you can consider.
Yeah, I think that would be a smart move, and actually he's built the beast up pretty well as well.
Sandthone's a logical first choice.
Yeah, I mean, as long as he remembers that the beast is all about putting him into position and then just leaving him there. Other Nurgle players I've seen who always struggle with that, and they keep wanting to hit with the Beast of Nurgle, and it really stupids, or you get a both down and haven't got block and down it goes. I mean, the Beast is all about having the tentacles and being able to hold those players into place, you know. It's one of the few big guys, if it rolls a 12, I would take strength on. A strength 6 beast with tentacles, your elves aren't going anywhere. You know. Yeah, so I'm sure Matt's pretty aware of that. You know, but yeah, I mean, overall, I mean, this is. I mean, as much as we're saying about the Chaos Dwarves, this team's going to become a nightmare as well.
The future is bashy, gentlemen.
That's right, very bashy.
Also on this team, we have one guard player, Fatal Insomnia. Yeah, edge down. Yeah, that's a play you keep anyway, because your rotters aren't going to move in far. They don't need that dodge, really. They don't need that up to dodge. It seems like he's going to be... He's going to probably be targeted, I have a feeling, as well. Because I don't think people like seeing guard.
No. I can understand keeping him, because I think strength access on a rotter is a double, so he had to roll the double to get the guard. But it does make that guard player very easy to mark. You know, it's a 4+ to dodge away without tackle zone, so he won't have the flexibility of movement to you know, once he's marked, he's probably going to stay marked wherever he is. You know.
Yeah, very much so. So we've got this Pestigore, who's going to probably get a level up by the end of the first game. I have a feeling he'll get a vanity pass done. That'll be probably wrestle again. I suspect he'll have 2 block and 2 wrestle when it comes to his Pestigores. So then there'll be a lot of blitzing potential with this team. It's going to be a team that no one really would like to face. Of course, disturbing presence or was it foul appearance?
That's both.
Disturbing presence is the one I was thinking of, which makes it impossible to run away, impossible to do any edge stuff with them. Because if you can keep those players in the right place, oh dear.
This is a team for all the elf players this season that you've got to be more worried about because of all the disturbing presence on it. Don't forget disturbing presence stacks, and he's got loads of it. So if you know, you'll be make sure before you do your dodges, make sure before you do your throws and your pickups and anything to do with the ball that you don't just double click it. You click once and just make sure you're seeing what it actually is. I've made that mistake before. You know, you think it might be a 3+ to catch, and it's actually a 5+ or a 6+ because of all the disturbing presence that's involved in it. You know. But yeah,
it's going to be a interesting team to play. Now Matt's built a solid team here, and we'll see how they do. Matt has a 44% win rate with Nurgle in the Bloodstained, so he's obviously had a bit of trouble in the side league. But we'll see.
It's building them up. The problem with Nurgle is
they're rubbish at 1,000, aren't they?
Yeah, no, they've got no block. You can't buy everything at once. You know, you need to develop into them. But that's the stage he's at now. I mean, this is a developed Nurgle team, and they're going to be a nightmare.
Yeah, all the players that he wants to keep have regeneration, so we'll see what happens. Next on our list is the Necromantic teams. We'll start with Barry. Where are you, Barry? I think you might be on the next page. There you are. Barry's Necromantic. Barry's never played Necro before, but checking the main stats, he's won 54% of his games. So
yes.
What we can say about this? What are we going to say about this team?
It's very difficult with the brand new teams. Of course, again, I think this is one of many options you can do when you're starting. I mean, he's gone for the one werewolf. A lot of people would build around having 2 werewolves, but you might not be able to take the reroll. But he's taken the 2 ghouls. Probably for this stage, it's very difficult to know what's in his mind about who's going to be a ball carrier. And on a Necro team, I would probably aim to still make the ghouls the ball carriers, to free the werewolves up to go blitzing and killing with their claw and everything else.
That claw is going to be very useful this game, this season.
The only thing that mitigates that claw is werewolves don't have strength access on a normal. They have to roll a double, so he's going to have to get doubles if he wants Mighty Blow and stuff like that on it as well. But still...
Everyone's armor 7, that's still fine.
That's it. Werewolves are considered one of the best players in the game because of their movement 8, good strength, average strength, average agility, average armor, regen. It'll be interesting to see how he develops. But Barry is another coach that will do some stuff that comes out the left field a little bit, and it can really work out sometimes. So, I think he has something a bit similar to you. One thing I've noticed that you guys like to is you both like to build a passing game into your teams where it's in any way viable. So it'll be interesting to
coaches at heart.
That's right, So like for example, both of you have had Norse team. Everyone knows Barry's had a Norse team because he played them for so long. You've both taken throwers and things like that, and trying to build in that passing game. And I think it'll be interesting to see if he tries to pull something off with the Necro team, because I don't think they've got anything like that. I mean, he'd have to get a double or an edge up or something to really be able to build that in. But we'll see.
I've also played a hot passing game with orcs, which was very silly.
Short pass all the time. No. I only won Flesh Golem. I'm not sure. I think I might have opted to maybe take either both werewolves or both Flesh Golems in a starting roster. But I think
it's something he can build into.
I think he wanted that third team role. And Necro, I think, are another team where you don't get your optimal team at the start. Like you say, you have to build. So you have to build them up.
There's only a couple of teams that really do get their optimal build at the start. The humans, the orcs, the 2 that come to my mind, obviously.
I think Elf Union do to a certain extent. Halflings. Halflings.
Elf Union don't have catches at the start, do they? They might do.
You can't get all 4 catches, but you can buy at least 2 of every position, or on 1 thrower. That's not too bad. It's not too bad.
So from a brand new Necro team to Liam's Necro team, grab him by the ghoulies.
The insane Necro team.
The very good Necro team with a strengthened up werewolf.
Yes.
Surprisingly, Liam's only got a 30% win rate in Necro, but that could just be down to the strength of the side league that it was in.
Yes, Liam, when he started with Orcs. He'd played a couple of times with friends, because Liam's one of the coaches. I work with him. Every lunchtime we talk about Blood Bowl. But so he went for Orcs. I can't remember. I think this was a Neophyte team or a Knuffle team. I can't remember. But he got Necro, but he did start getting really into them. The one thing that put him off was every time. It looks like a Neophyte.
Yeah, that looks like Neophyte. Quite a few seasons ago. No, it's a Knuffle. It's definitely Will Knuffle, because that.
Oh yeah, because you're the Prime Ministers.
The Prime Ministers are in there.
But every time he'd buy a ghoul, the ghoul would die. So he's a bit put off with the ghouls. But I would say to Liam, persevere with them. It's similar to what I was saying to Barry. You really want them to be your ball carriers. You don't want to be wasting that strength for Werewolf trying to maneuver him with. He should be out there hitting everything, hitting stuff.
This is going to be. It's going to be simple. First thing I'll do the first game. Nigel Farage throws a ball to someone. Doesn't matter who, just to someone. Probably Theresa May. But we'll see what happens.
And I'm in two minds with. There are better Necro coaches than me. I'm sure they'll say in the comments about what they think. But whether he should make Nigel Farage a ball sacker, or whether he should maybe get a second goal and make one goal a ball handler and the other one a ball sacker, because they could both take wrestle and do those sort of things. But it'll be interesting to see which way he goes with them.
And also we have a zombie with dirty player, so yet more fouling is going to be happening. Any team that's got a large bench, I suspect, is going to be doing a lot of fouling, and any team with dirty player is obviously going to do fouling.
I think with what he's done, and again, Liam, 10 cheerleaders, mate. You don't need 10 cheerleaders.
And 10 coaches.
And 10 assistant coaches.
Was there a halfling team? That's the thing we need to work out. Was there a halfling team?
I don't think there was, but again, this was in his early days as a coach, and I think you should try to give coaches a bit of breathing room to develop things, but that's insane. I mean, again, I would sack or down to 0 personally. I know some people like to have 2 of each, and if you really want that, then go for it. Have the 2 of each, but that's you're giving away so. I mean, if you sack those,
that's 200k more TV,
and then your TV is going to drop right down because they're not going to help you on the pitch. Your TV will drop right down, and in this season, where there's that's going to matter a lot.
Wilhelm Chaney could be a logical thing to grab, I believe. They can grab Wilhelm.
Yeah, exactly. There's a whole load of options. Get rid of those, Liam. Just get rid of them.
Yeah. Anyway, said how much I said. As I said, 30% win rate. But we'll see how they go.
And again, more claw.
More claw. Who's next on our list? We have the Lizardmen next. We are going to start with Ken's Lizards, which are... Dude, where's my chameleon? This is the build I would have gone with. If I was going to do that, if I was going to ever play Lizardmen.
It is the one I started with when I had them as well, and he's kept the 40k. And I know, Ken, you get sick of hearing about it, but first game, buy an Apothecary. I don't care who dies. I know you're saving up for the crocs. Irrelevant. Buy an Apothecary. Take it from someone who played Lizards and had a lot of their Sauruses knocked out because I delayed getting an Apothecary. So I could talk a little bit about Lizardman development a bit more because I've played them a bit. On your Sauruses, get block unless they roll strength up. Maybe forego it for a move up. For the rest of it, don't bother. You're going to give some of them break tackle. You don't need the extra edge. You obviously don't need the AV up. And if you roll a double, I know people go into getting dodge, but I advise strongly against it and get them all block first. Block will increase their kill count. Block stops turnovers from happening. Dodge won't stop a turnover from happening. Get block first, and then this is a bit for Leon. I won't repeat this when we come to Leon. And then obviously you get 2 with break tackle, 2 with guard, 2 with mighty blow on their second skills, and then you've got a solid base of Sauruses to develop from. Don't do what I did and give them all mighty blow for the second skill. That didn't really work out. That was an experiment that didn't really work out. That's what I would normally do. And for your skinks, don't be scared to sack them. They're your main ball handlers, and they've only got agility access. So you've got sidestep and sprint and sure feet, and they're all kind of viable. But you want doubles for sure hands and block, and trying to get an edge up and things like that. I think not many coaches are very into recycling players because they don't like sacking the leveled up players. But I really recommend it to the two new Lizard teams. Really consider it because the amount of times you're going to fail picking up the ball when you're out of re-rolls, particularly early on when you're using re-rolls because you're getting both downs without block, if you follow me. You need to develop the skinks to be the best ball handlers you can. But as always, it's up to the players.
So, TLDR, sack stunted unless they get a double.
That's right. Basically.
Ken has never played Lizardmen, but he has a 50% win rate in Bloodstains. And that's a 50% win rate after playing Vampires and only getting one draw.
That's right. I was sort of hoping he'd bring the Vampires back. But I could understand the frustration with playing them. So I certainly do understand him dropping them for now.
I was twitching at potentially bringing Vampires myself, but I decided against it.
That's it. Somebody will do it one day and work it out.
So from one Lizardman philosophy to another Lizardman philosophy. I need that croc, and I want 2 rerolls for it.
That's right, and it is still viable. It puts more another heavy strength player out there on the line. Prehensile tail. Okay, it's not quite as strong as tentacles, but if you can get that, if you can position that, it crocs again. And I mean, I would say the same thing as I was saying in Nurgle. The Crocs is all about putting him next to the players that you want to hinder, and then just leaving them there, and then just moving them about. You don't want to be doing unnecessary blocks with them because they're going to bonehead every time at the wrong time.
Most of the big guys are not actually about beating your opposing team up. Most big guys are actually just about area control.
That's it, and obviously because it's not quite. I mean, you still have to kind of try and make sure they're also dodging into a tackle zone if you can, because it can make it, prehensile tail for an elf. It just makes it a 2+ rather than a 1+. I mean, prehensile tail works really well, like obviously against Edge 3 players because it suddenly goes up to a 4+.
That turns the 90% chance of success to a 75% chance of success if they have dodge. So it's quite a lift.
How successful these Lizard teams are going to be, whether they take any casualties early on, and if they can get the star player points, and that's hard to do on the Sauruses. The Edge 1, you can't even. You're only going to get a touchdown with them if the ball happens to bounce on their square and you happen to catch it.
Or if the ball falls off the pitch at the start of the game, because you can.
And you can give it to one, yeah.
I think it might be something that you might have to always. It might be something that has to be done every single time it happens. If the ball's off the pitch, grab your set, put it on a Saurus, because that 3 SVP is going to be very useful.
Yes, yeah. I mean, so it's hard to say with a Lizard team. Oh yeah, it's a new team. Similar. You just go into this season looking just to level up, but you get the right levels ups, you can suddenly find yourself in the semis, even in this season.
So Leon has never played Lizards himself, but has a 56% win rate in Bloodstains.
Yes.
My concern is the 2 rerolls is a bit too low. Yeah, I think.
It is. But again, the viability of this build is the Croc. He's got the Crocs now. The Crocs can get the MVPs, and it's obviously in a position to get some development. But yeah, I mean, and again, Apothecary first before your 3rd reroll. But
it does actually work out as a little bit cheaper though, because he needs 170k to get the reroll and the Apothecary, as opposed to Ken, who needs 190 to get the Croc and the Apothecary.
Yes,
so it does work out a little bit cheaper. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. Next on our list is the last person on the list. And oops, we saved this team till last. So everyone can listen.
Favourite.
Everyone can listen. Everyone can listen. If you're still watching, Slippery Simon must die.
Yeah.
I don't care how. If you've got a wizard, strike him straight away. There is no way that man is allowed to get to 176 SPP.
Kill it dead. But having said that, that's all absolutely true. Don't take your eyes off Angry Joe either.
Yeah, that's true.
Angry Joe won him the final that he was in. I mean, it was just obscene. It was just absolutely obscene.
Yeah.
But the one thing that Rob Top has done with this, if you look at the star player point distribution, Slippery Simon is a hog, absolute hog. And I would be watching some of his games, and the ball would be out in the open, and he'd have options for other gutter runners to score. And I go, oh, you've got to let somebody else score, to even out the SPP. No, Slippery Simon scoring all.
Well, the reason is he wants Slippery Simon to get to the end. He wants that.
That's it. I mean, the only danger is if one of us does manage to take him out. Mind you, I don't think it's the end of the world. It's Skaven. I mean, a brand new gutter runner is still a pretty big threat, actually. And but yeah, I mean, we myself and Rob Top have very different ideas about how to develop up the gutter runners. But at this stage of this team's career, it's irrelevant. It's just irrelevant. But if you look at his Rat Ogre. See, the Rat Ogre in the final that he won just stood in the back of the field and didn't do anything for most of the game. And he was thinking about sacking him. And then I think he got blocked and thought, well, I'll try to keep him around for a little bit. But now if you notice, he's rolled another double and got Claw. So he's got the 2 Claw players. I mean,
this is going to be... It's lots of Claw this season. Lots of Claw and lots of Armour 9. So... it's going to be interesting.
I was to say he is going to face the same problem against the Chaos Dwarves and Matt's Nurgle team and things like that. So I still think he's going to do very well this season, but I think there is a chance that he could start losing some pinnacle players if he's not careful.
So this team is a former champion and has an 82% win rate.
So, we want to go back on all of our advice. We think this team should take all 10 cheerleaders and all 10 coaches.
Yes, 10 cheerleaders, 10 assistant coaches.
Definitely.
Seems like the right thing. You've got 170k. You can do it at the end of the first match. Come on, Rob.
That's it. Yeah, go for it. I can't see that. And, because number 9 is another one that's worth commenting on. You can see he's kind of trying to build 2 of these gutter runners to maybe be able to sack the ball carrier, but number 4, that's just the perfect. I mean, I know he's got kick on him.
Leap next. It's going to be leap.
First, but yeah, if he gives him leap next, then he can get right stuck in there.
Well, we have one dirty player. Anyone who's played Rob Top knows that fouls are coming.
That's right.
We're going to have... so I suspect we might see more dirty player on these guys, and we're going to see people wincing as one of their players is left out in the open and is surrounded by a bunch of no-name rats.
That's it. I mean, the one thing to also bear in mind when playing Rob Top is he won't always put all 4 gutter runners on the pitch either. So don't sort of think, oh, well, he's got a bench. He's quite happy, depending on the drive and who he's playing, to go, you know what, I only need 2 gutter runners on the pitch for this half, I'm going to leave the other 2 off the pitch, and then suddenly you're facing these line rats with dirty player. And
the whole point of the bench is to make sure Slippery Simon is not on the pitch when he doesn't need to be.
Yeah. Oh, of course, he's been developed. It's his 1-turn touchdown now as well.
1-turn touchdown, leaps on a 2, sure feet. So the next skill is either sprint or a movement up.
Actually, yeah, it has to be sprint. He can't have another movement up. 10 is the maximum. But he's not quite one turn yet. He needs to get sprint to make that a one turner from the touchline. So that's why I figure he's going to go for it. Yeah, sprint on Slippery Slime.
It's not hard to make him score a one turn touchdown though. Let's be honest.
No.
So that is all the teams. Without looking at the schedule, which four do you reckon are going to make the playoffs?
Roland Rat, as requested, Forgotten Frigerators, and Commissioner Gibbs' Barmy Army. That's my, that's who I reckon will be in the playoffs.
I reckon it's the Barmy Army, the Rats, the Forgotten Frigerators, and the Snobbity Snobs.
Yeah, remember, we think this is going to be a really, really close season, guys. So don't be disheartened that if your team doesn't come up in that. That's not us saying we don't think you're going to do it. When we get halfway through these recaps, we're going to look back on this and go, "Yeah, we were wrong."
I want to be cheering a underdog being top of the league. I want Leicester City. Give me Leicester City, guys. Come on.
That's it. Let's see some new faces getting up there, basically, which I think is completely possible.
We're now going to look at the schedule. We've already had a little sneak peek earlier, and we already know that Alistair is playing. Who Alistair is playing? The Lustre Headhunters are playing IDF game week 1.
That's right. Well, shall we start from the top?
Let's start from the top. Roland Rat versus Freddy's Nightmares.
3-0 to the Rats. And that's only because the Necromantic team are new.
I think there is 900 inducements. What on earth are you going to do with 900 inducements?
It will come down to that. I can't. He can get any star players he wants. I don't think he. I think he would take star players over. Oh, sorry, take star players over mercenaries for definite. But yeah, I'm going to stick to 3-0 to the Rats for this one.
I am gonna say 4-1 to the Rats. You're noting them down now, I think.
Are you writing them down?
I'm only writing them down on a piece of paper. You're writing them down on a computer.
Yeah, I'll leave you to write it down on the paper.
Okay. Next game, IDF versus the Lustria Headhunters. Perfect start for you. You team with lots of tackle. That's exactly what you wanted to see.
I get them out the way early. I mean, I'm happy about actually facing them now rather than. At least I'll know what the damage is, and I've got the rest of the season to build up. I'm going to say 2-1 though to the Headhunters.
I'm going to say 2-1 to the Dwarfs.
Yeah, I mean, I think either one of those is viable.
It's going to basically be who wins the toss. That's what's going to happen there.
Yeah.
And now, Grab 'em by the Ghoulies versus Flight of the Lizards. Probably not the sort of team that Leon wanted to see first game. No. The Strength 4 Wolf, of course, is going to be as a match before his Sauruses.
Yes.
So what do you reckon on this one?
2-1 to the Ghoulies. They've played lizards before, and they've played developed lizards before, so the psychological effect of all that strength hopefully won't come into the play. It's basically because the Ghoulies have the skills. They've got block and so on and so forth, where the lizards need to develop into that.
There's not much tackle on the team, is there? I'm thinking 2-2. Yeah, 2-2 because there's no tackle. And those skinks are going to score.
Yes.
So, not a good start for Ken now. Forgotten Frigerators versus Dude, Where's My Chameleon?
I'm going to go 3-1 for the Frigerators.
Yeah, lots of disturbing presence means the ball's going to be picked up and then run slowly or run fast around all the players.
Yeah.
I'm going to stick up for Ken. I'm going to say another 2-2. I think I believe in you, Ken. You can do it. What did you say? You said 3-0, didn't you?
3-1. I think the Lizards can do it. Obviously, it's a bit tricky. We don't know what inducements you're all going to take. I mean, we know there are big gaps here. So, Ken, if you get the right, you take the right inducements, you know, you could absolutely do it. And that's what's going to be key.
740 is a lot. It's no 900, but it's still a lot.
It's still a lot. I mean, you know, it allows you to just basically take pretty much whatever you want.
You know. And now we have Commissioner Gibbs' Barmy Army versus the Lotharian Leviathans. So we have my favourite against my favourite.
I think that's Willem's High Elves.
Yes, it is. It's Willem's High Elves. So what did you reckon on this one?
Sorry, Willem. I think this is going to be like a 3-0 win. It's not a matchup I would want straight away, to be honest. It really, really isn't.
Your one advantage is only one claw. That is your one advantage.
Yeah.
And there is no mighty blow. So.
You know, the High Elves are faster though. If you can get the passing plays in and you can outmaneuver them. The Chaos Dwarves.
Lots of tackle is lots of bloat, so that's 120 extra TV and of inducements. That's 120 TV of skills. That is going to be useless against you. So that is something that you could hopefully capitalise on.
Yes.
So you said 3-0.
Yes.
I'm gonna say you can't really stop an elf scoring game, so I'm gonna go with 3-1. And finally, the Snobby Snobs versus As Requested.
I mean, it is a tough one to call.
I love an underdog. And he's got his safe row. So, what do you reckon?
I think you're going to get a 3-2.
3-2 to me, you reckon? Okay, I would take that. I'm going to go with 3-1 though. I think I've got a plan. It depends on the inducements he takes, obviously, but actually, let's check how much makes the TV difference.
You guys are much closer. He's not going to get any inducements.
He's got 30k, and he's got anything in the kitty? Yeah, he's got 30k in the kitty if he wants to use it. We'll see.
I don't know if I would, but anyway, I think as this is 2 elf teams quite close together. I think they're probably in this round the 2 that are most evenly matched.
Very elf. It is going to be the most elfy game.
Yes.
Anyway, let's look at the leaderboard. Oh, lovely. Nothing.
Nothing.
I think that is it for us. Have you got anything else you want to add?
No, good luck to all the coaches for this season, and we'll see you next time after the first round of matches for the recap.
And to still something from my predecessor, we will see you on the pitch.